The 11th candidate to be the leader of the Conservative Party and by default Prime Minister, James Cleverly, the MP for Braintree. Welcome to you.
Adam, hi.
Well, simple question. Why should you be the next Prime Minister?
Well, I think that we need to deliver Brexit. I campaigned for Brexit right from the get-go, before it was fashionable even. But having done that, I think we need to reset the agenda. We need to, as a party, and as a government, we need to look different, we need to sound different, we need to offer something new, because the British people have made it clear that they are deeply unhappy with the politics that we have at the moment. And I think we need to repair our relationship with the British people. And I think I'm in a fantastic place to do that.
You've been an MP since 2015 for 4 years. Do you honestly think that gives you the qualifications to run the government at this very difficult time for the nation?
Yes, I do. I absolutely do, because it's not just about the time that I've had in Parliament. I was also at City Hall for 8 years, running a really big and important part of that. I ran the Fire Authority and did all the emergency planning for London, including the prelude to the 2012 Olympic and Paralympic Games.
But the sort of international negotiations, have you got much experience of that, for example?
Well, yes, actually. Yes, I have. I mean, I was in business and I did international business. I was a negotiator. That's what I did. That's what paid my mortgage. And actually, the point is that we're seeing all around the world that there is a desire to have new faces with new voices entering politics. And we're seeing that in Europe, we're seeing that in America, we're seeing that right
I mean, the problem
is
a lot of people are fed up with the old, but, you know, to be frank, the new aren't doing a great job at the moment either, are they? If you look at Donald Trump, President Macron, you know, people want new brushes, but they're not necessarily very efficient.
Well, I can't, and I'm not going to try and justify the record of other politicians, but I know what this job needs. This job needs someone who can build a team, someone who can make difficult decisions, and then someone who can communicate those decisions both within Parliament and to the country as a whole. And I've done all those three things. I know that I can do these three things again. And you're right. The country is crying out for something new. And there is a balance. There is a balance. If you want lots of experience, then there will be choices put forward. But if you genuinely want to see something new and different, as I think we are seeing from the British electorate, then you have to make a bold choice.
So, for example, is the Speaker right that Parliament should have a voice on a no-deal Brexit and potentially could stop it?
But it doesn't matter whether I agree with the Speaker or not. We just have to deal with reality as we find it.
No, but I'm asking
the Speaker's made it clear. The Speaker's made it clear that he will give as much latitude as he can to MPs trying to prevent us leaving without a deal. And MPs have been successful. That said, no deal is still the default position. My job as the Brexit Minister is to make sure that we are in a good place if we have to leave without a deal.
But I mean, the reason I'm asking this is Jeremy Hunt and now Matt Hancock have both said leaving without a deal is not a runner.
Well,
is it a runner or not?
It is still a credible situation we might find ourselves in.
Is it a good idea?
Because it's entirely feasible that the EU, you talk about President Macron, he's already making it very clear he's very uncomfortable with the UK getting a further extension. We have to prepare for it. I know our preparations for no deal are well advanced, and if we had to leave without a deal, we could. I have never claimed, and I do not claim now, that it is the most desirable outcome.
Okay,
but neither is failing to leave.
But you become Prime Minister, we get into October, and the choice is we leave without a deal, or you do something, ask for an extension, or revoke Article 50. What do you do?
So revoking Article 50 is totally unacceptable. It would bring about
better than crashing out.
It would bring about a collapse in the confidence of democracy as a whole. We should not underestimate. We should not underestimate the social impact of politicians.
Even if business, the unions, the country are saying we can't afford to crash out. You wouldn't have the cojones to actually get out there and say, look, this is all a mistake.
I tell you, my job is to make sure that if we have to leave without a deal, we are able to do so and do so in good order. And I am confident that I and my predecessor have made good on that.
So not to renegotiate, but to prepare for no deal.
We have got to prepare for no deal. I've said that. This has been
so
a consistent position.
If you become leader, you wouldn't waste time going back to Brussels and saying, "Can we finesse this or that?"
The point is, we have had delay, and we've had delay, and we've had delay, and at no point has that delay helped. Delaying the point where we have to make difficult decisions has just introduced further indecision, and that's the last thing we need now. We've got to show some leadership. We've got to show some decisiveness, and I think that actually we can, by building better relationships both within the Conservative Party and across the House of Commons and with our European neighbours, we can leave with a deal and on time.
Let's talk about you a bit.
Sure.
You were in the regular army, is that right?
Very briefly.
You were injured, is that right?
Yeah, I picked up a sporting injury, nothing terribly heroic. Most of my time in uniform has been in the reserve forces.
And I didn't know this. You went to the same private school as Ollie Robbins.
I did.
Colf's Academy.
I did. No, it was Colf's in South East London. I didn't know him. He was younger than me.
You once said you wanted to scrap the minimum wage.
No, I didn't.
You didn't say that?
No, I didn't say that. What that was a debate about regulations and burden on small businesses, and it was one of these kind of like a balloon debate at Conservative Party conference, where the idea was to kick around various almost like unthinkable ideas, and that was part of the debate.
Well, that was one of the unthinkable ideas you said might be a good idea.
Well, no, it was a discussion point in the same way that you debate. This House has no confidence.
So, what's your attitude to the national minimum wage and the living wage and the universal basic income?
So what we've seen. Well, hang on, you're clustering a whole lot of different things.
No, but they're in the same area. That's what I'm saying.
So what we've seen actually is millions of very hard-working people on low wages lifted because of the decisions that we've made as a Conservative Party. I'm proud of that, and it follows a long tradition of the Conservative Party looking after the people who are not as successful, perhaps economically or financially, as others. I'm very proud of that, and I want to see that continue. But ultimately, the best way of lifting wages is to make sure we have a vibrant economy, particularly in the small business sector, make sure they are not too heavily taxed, not too heavily regulated, and particularly this is true out of our big cities, in our towns, where we have seen real problems with economic stagnation, and that's where we really need to see the economy bubbling up.
And obviously you are playing to win.
Absolutely.
But if not you...
No, don't go there. I'm playing to win. This is, in fact, I'm not playing. I'm in this to win. Because I know that the party needs and the country demands something new and something fresh and something different, and that's what I believe.
Are there any of the candidates...
I said don't go there.
No. Are there any of the candidates who, in your view, are not fit to lead the party and be Prime Minister?
Look, we are blessed. We have got a really good spectrum of potential leaders. I think that I would do better than the others, but... I'm really proud of the people that the Conservative Party's putting forward.
You could serve under any of them.
I'm not going to talk down any of the candidates, and I'm not going to say I wouldn't serve under any of them, because I think we've got a really good slate of candidates, growing slate.
And finally, just on party business, you used to be Deputy Chairman of the party. What are you going to do about the Michael Heseltines and the Andrew Coopers and other Conservatives who voted for other parties, maybe Brexit, maybe in a different direction?
Well, as it stands at the moment, the party's constitution is what it is, and I think we should abide by that. Ultimately, what we should do is we should find a way of once again being a broad appeal political party, and we should be a party that can comfortably home people of a range of views. We have always been a broad-based party. That's what we need to get back to. Yes, we need to make sure that we win over the people that voted for us most recently, but also we need to get across to new audiences, younger voters, urban voters, voters from black and BAME backgrounds. We need to do this as well as, rather than instead of.
And Labour is starting to expel people who didn't vote.
That's Labour's problem.
No,
that's Labour's problem.
Is the Conservative Party going to do that?
As I say,
should he be expelling people who voted Brexit or who voted Lib Dem or
so
Green?
the party's constitution is set out. The rules are set out.
What are the rules?
The rules are that to be a member of the Conservative Party, you have to abide by the Conservative values. Obviously, a demonstrable way of doing that is voting Conservative and not voting for other people. But the point is, what we should look to do is get beyond Brexit, this very, very divisive issue, and then in very quick time start reaching out to our traditional voters and new voters.
But basically, it's no to expulsions. You're saying it.
Well, I say, look, Adam, the rules.
I'm asking your view. I'm not.
My view.
You're asking to lead the Tory party. Do you think people who voted for other parties should be expelled?
So my view is that there are other things that I want to be focusing on at the moment, and the rules are already in place.